there are 4 key steps to follow. The first one is to identify the problem and the job to be done using the job to be done framework. The second one is to then use the problem to really define who your personas are. The third one is to develop your go-to-market strategy around the problem. And the fourth one is then to leverage the personas as a way to implement the go-to-market strategy. So in this case, for example, realizing that, oh, we need to go to event trade shows because this is where our personas are. In this talk, though, I want to focus in particular on the very first aspect in terms of identifying the problem using the job to be done. This is because the job to be done framework is something that has been used quite heavily for a long time among product managers and product designers, but I think it's underused on the marketing side. And I think us as marketers are not very familiar with this framework, but also we don't use it as much as we really should, because I think it's a really great way to come up with our value proposition, competitive differentiation, and go-to-market strategies. There are 3 key steps to job to be done that I want to go through today. The first one is the job to be done itself and the job map. The second one is the desired outcome statement. And the third one is the analysis of unmet needs. So let's start by looking at the job to be done. Now, I've thrown this term around a lot already during this presentation, but it still may sound foreign to you. But maybe the statement, customers don't need to drill, they need a hole in the wall, this may start sounding a bit more familiar to you. And this is really at the heart of the concept. The idea is that customers hire a product or a service to accomplish a certain task, to overcome a certain problem. The way to find this out is through a lot of user and customer interviews, but then the way to really formulate it or to phrase it is to following this formula, this job to be done statement. It's made up of 3 different parts: the context, job to achieve, and the outcome we want to achieve through the job. So let's say I have a bike I'm very protective of. This is the job to be done statement in terms of what I want to achieve when it comes to my bike. So when I leave my bike unattended, that's the context, I want to be sure no one will steal it, that's the job, so that I can relax, that's the outcome. There are a couple of things to highlight here. The first one is, notice that I'm not saying I want to lock it so that no one steals it and I can relax. It is solution agnostic. It's not saying how I want to protect it. It's just saying the ultimate thing I want to achieve is to protect my bike, is to make sure no one will steal it. It's solution agnostic because then it opens the door to innovation, because there are a lot of different ways actually to protect my bike, from probably some inconvenient ways, like ask someone to watch it for a few hours on my behalf, or to installing an alarm system or a type of a chip. But you see, by really focusing on the job rather than on the solution, it really opens up the doors to understanding what the customers want to achieve. And it also makes the statement valid for a longer period of time. When it comes to the outcome, there are 3 types of outcomes. The first one is functional. So that's like reduce or improve something. The second one is emotional. This is about how I want to feel. In this case, so that I can relax, is more of an emotional outcome. And the third one is social, which is around how I want to be perceived when the job is done. As a marketer, I can't help but look at this statement and think about, this is actually very similar to value proposition. And that's why I think it's like so powerful for us marketers to really use this framework, because it really tells us what the customer wants to achieve, what they care about, and what are the metrics, the values that they care about as well. So this is the overall job to be done statement, but actually every job is made up of several different steps and components. So the second, more detailed layer to the job to be done is the job map. And there are 7 discrete steps that you can map to each job to be done. Because, for example, if I want to protect my bike, there are probably a ton of different steps to it, right? It's about, well, I'm going somewhere with my bike. I have to find a place to leave it. I'm leaving the bike there, installing something to protect it. And then I come back to find the bike, for example. You can, I'm not going to go into more level of detail here, but you can follow the Stefan Diefenbacher article that really goes into the detail how to split the job statement into the discrete steps, the job map. Why do we care about a job map? This is because often we have a solution for everything these days, right? But there may be a particular aspect of the solution or a particular step in the job to be done that is a little bit underlooked, that there is no great solution in the market that the customer still struggles with. And this really helps us to break the job into its discrete parts to really understand where the customer needs are met well and which aspect is not meeting the customer needs that well. And then we can really focus on that particular aspect or the step into job with our solutioning and our value proposition. The second step is the desired outcome statement. This is essentially a success metric that the customer wants to achieve through the job. There is a formula to it as well. This is because it has to be measurable and very concrete. So the formula consists of direction of improvement, such as minimize or increase, performance metric, like time or likelihood, the outcome, and the context of the outcome. So an example with the bike could be reuse, which is the direction of improvement, the number of items I have to carry around, which is the performance metric, to protect my bike, outcome, when I leave it unattended, context. The desired outcome statement can be one at the level of job to be done, but you can also have several to each particular step in the job map that we've seen on the previous slide. And finally, once we have the job to be done, the job map, and the desired outcome statement, we can really see where customer needs are still unmet. We have to ask, how important is this for you? Because we want to focus on something that matters to the customer, right? But secondly, we have to also understand how well the need is met. So we ask, to what degree are you satisfied with the existing solutions? And this can really help us understand, well, this particular part of the job to be done is not met very well today, and this is where the customer struggles still. And then this allows us to really innovate in that area or to position our solution in that area because no one else is there today. There is a lot to it, but I think a great example of a company that leveraged this well is Coloplast. So Coloplast provides wound healing solutions, and all their competitors focused on healing fast messaging and value proposition. But Coloplast used the job to be done framework, and they realized that actually the nurses don't really care about the fast healing. What they care about is preventing healing complications. So they started positioning around that message. And obviously their revenue grew like crazy because otherwise I wouldn't be using the example here today. But as you've seen, by starting with the problem, the desired outcome, and analyzing the unmet needs, this will really inform your go-to-market strategy to understand how do we want to position, what's our differentiation, what's the key message we want to drive. And then you can use the personas, like for example, in the Coloplast case, the nurses, to realize, okay, we want to market this in hospitals, or we want to market this at this time or through these fora or these channels because it's where the nurses are. But I really believe that starting with the problem really helps us to focus well on the key positioning, the messaging, on the key differentiation, and then leveraging personas as a way to enrich that strategy.